Hello friends, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to share about the parable of the prodigal son. In the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15, verses 11 to 32, Jesus Christ shares about the parable of the prodigal son. This parable is about a father and his two sons. And one day, the youngest son comes to the father and says, "Father, give me my portion of the inheritance." And so the father divides his wealth among the sons. And soon afterwards, the youngest son collects all his wealth and goes to a faraway land, where he wastes all his wealth in wild living. And soon all the money is gone and there's a famine in the land. And so in order to feed himself, he finds the job of feeding the pigs. He's so hungry that even the food that is being fed to the pigs looks appealing to him. But the people are not willing to even give him that. So he comes to his senses and then realizes that in his father's house, there are many servants and all of them have access to good food and life. So he decides, let me go back to my father. And when I meet my father, I will tell him, "Father, I've sinned against God and against you. Let me be one of the servants in your house." So having made that decision, he goes back to his father's house. And even while he's a bit far from his father's house, his father sees him and he comes running towards him. The father hugs his son, kisses him, welcomes him. And then the youngest son tells his father, "Father, I have sinned against God and I have sinned against you." But while he's saying that, his father commands his servants to bring the best clothes from the home and put it on his son. He commands that a ring be put on his finger and sandals on his feet. And then he says, "Let's call for a party." Well, the parable goes on to talk about the response of the elder son. I want to focus more on this part of the parable. And there are three reflections for us from this parable. The first reflection is that it's never too late to change our life. The prodigal son had two choices. The first choice was to continue his life of wild living, and the second choice was to change his mind and become a better person. And he chooses the second one and decides to go back to his father. So that changed his life. Sometimes we think that we have come to the end of our journey and that we are past the point of no return. But this parable tells us that there is no such thing. We can change our life. We can change our choices. And we can go back to our Father in heaven who loves us and who is waiting for us. The second reflection is that there is someone out there who loves us and who is waiting for us. In this parable, we see that the father was waiting for his youngest son. So even though the youngest son was far from the home, his father sees him and runs towards him. So there could be someone in your life who is waiting for you, who is loving you unconditionally. Do you know who that person is? While it could be our parents or friends or family members, we know that we have a Father in heaven, our God, who created us, who knew us even before we were formed in our mother's womb. He loves us and He's waiting for us to go back to Him. Do we know that our Father in heaven is waiting for us? Or are we more focused on what the world is offering us. Here's an opportunity for us to remember the Father, our God who created us, and go back to Him. The third reflection is that the past does not matter, and what matters are the present and the future. In this parable, we see that when the youngest son comes back, his father runs to him, hugs him, kisses him, and restores everything that he had lost. And he also celebrates his return. So at that point of time and afterwards, his past life of wild living does not matter. What matters is the fact that he has changed his mind and he has come back to the Father. So it's a present, the present decision of changing his life to go back to the Father. And that determines a future filled with love and hope. So for all of us, our past doesn't matter. All that matters is whether we are willing to go back to our Father. And when we do that, our past is forgotten. And we receive restoration in the present and a future of love and hope. So this parable of the prodigal son helps us to understand that it's never too late to change our life. That it is important to find and go to that person, our God the Father, who loves us. And thirdly, the past does not matter, and what matters is the present and the future in our God. Thank you so much for watching this video.